This is Sarah Burton, a video producer at Buzzfeed who has brought us premium content such as I wore butt crack jeans for a day and I tried to transform myself into a life-size Barbie.
Oh my God, I really do look very shiny and plastic. Did I do it? Do you think I did it? I mean, I still need to grow taller, but I feel pretty good.
And now, Sarah Burton is about to tackle her most important video subject yet, the Electoral College. Wait, really?
Ah, the US presidential election. The candidate with the most votes wins, right? Wrong. It's not that simple. Unless you mean simple as in stupid.
What?
Because the US presidential voting system is really dumb, and it has everything to do with the Electoral College.
Actually, the Electoral College is pretty simple. I mean, not as simple as this McDonald's breakfast hack that will save you money, but it is simple.
In 2 out of 6 of the last presidential elections, the Electoral College gave us a president that a majority of the population didn't vote for.
That's crazy.
This is why the Electoral College needs to die.
Yes, let's change the Constitution because the election resulted in outcomes that Sarah didn't agree with.
Ever wonder why we're always talking about Pennsylvania and Florida?
Well, Sarah, it's because they're very populous swing states that have been allotted more than 20 electoral votes each, and that means that
If I press it this way, it turns red. Blue, red. Blue, red,
colors.
red, purple, and now it's broken. Jennifer, my screen broke.
And they say female comedians aren't funny. Go figure.
Why does it seem like only a few states control the entire election?
Because you don't know what you're talking about?
What about the voters in California or Louisiana? Doesn't their vote count for something?
Yeah, their vote counts for 12.4% of the Electoral College, you dolt.
Our American electoral system is terribly undemocratic.
It's terribly undemocratic because it was never designed to be democratic. The Electoral College exists because the United States is not a direct democracy, it's a constitutional federal republic. Furthermore, there is no mention of the word democracy or anything resembling a popular vote in the Constitution. Okay, before we listen to this expert on Disney princesses talk about why the Electoral College is stupid, let me explain how it works. Every 10 years, after the United States Census is conducted, every state is assigned congressional districts based on total population. A densely populated state like New York currently has 27 congressional districts, as well as 2 US Senate seats. When you add them together, you get 29 electoral votes. So you take the 435 congressional seats, 100 Senate seats, and the 3 electoral votes that Washington, D.C. gets for some reason, and you get 538 electoral votes. To win the presidency, a candidate needs to acquire at least 270 electoral votes.
Unfortunately, with the system, every vote counts does not mean that every vote counts equally.
The premise that each individual vote has to carry roughly the same amount of weight as every other vote only applies in elections within a state, not in a presidential election. The term one man, one vote isn't in the Constitution either, look it up. With that said, someone needs to sit down and read the Constitution instead of doing whatever this is.
Okay, we can get the button if we don't breathe, and then we can, oh no. Oh no. Wyoming has 3 electoral votes and a population of around 580,000. Compare that to California, a state that has 55 electoral votes and around 39.5 million residents.
Comparing 2 states in this way is a false equivalence, but she's gonna do it anyway.
Those numbers suggest that an individual vote in Wyoming is 3.7 times more influential than an individual vote in California.
Sarah is suggesting that Wyoming, when compared to California, has disproportionate influence in the election. But since the Electoral College is directly tied to Congress, that would also mean that Wyoming, with their 1 vote in the House, is somehow more influential than California and their 53 votes. Yeah, sure. Sarah may be an expert on last-minute Halloween costumes for your doggy, but when it comes to politics, Sarah needs to stay in her lane.
Got it! So when we go vote, we're actually voting for an elector that goes to the Electoral College and then they vote for the president.
Pretty much, yeah.
And yes, of course, electors are supposed to represent the popular will of the state, but that's not always the case. For example, in 2016, 2 Texan electors refused to vote for Trump and instead cast votes for Governor Kasich and Ron Paul.
And as another example, in 2016, 8 electors refused to vote for Hillary Clinton and instead cast votes for John Kasich, Bernie Sanders, Colin Powell, and Faith Spotted Eagle. You know, even though Hillary won the popular vote. Regardless, these faithless electors are rare and in many cases can be invalidated by state laws. Furthermore, they never tilt the scale for a losing candidate, so it's not really an issue.
The Electoral College was created at the Constitutional Convention of 1787. So only white property-owning men could vote at the time.
I think you know where this is going.
Now, this is where it gets a little dark because slavery had a huge impact on the formation of the Electoral College.
Oh, I see. The Electoral College has a supposedly racist history, so we should consider getting rid of it. And while we're at it, let's get rid of the Democratic Party for the same reason.
Because Southern states fought for the 3/5 compromise, in which the apportionment for each state was the state's population plus 3/5 of its enslaved population.
And she's wrong. Delegates from the southern states did not fight for the 3/5 compromise. They fought to have their entire population be counted, while the northern delegates, opposed to slavery, wanted to count only free persons. So counting the entire population of slaves as only 3/5 was, wait for it, a compromise. Regardless, the 3/5 compromise was explicitly repealed by Section 2 of the 14th Amendment over 150 years ago. In other words, it has f*** all to do with how the Electoral College works in the 21st century.
Probably not surprisingly, 4 of the 5 first presidents were from Virginia, the state with the largest slave population.
Oh, I see. George Washington wasn't elected because he was a founding father or a war hero. It's probably because he was from a slave state. Got it, Sarah. I should also mention that the map Sarah used spelled Virginia and Carolina wrong. And don't get me started about what's going on here or here. You'd think that a multi-million-dollar company like Buzzfeed would have better quality control, but whatever.
In the 19th century, twice the electoral vote winner was not the popular vote winner.
19th century, 21st century, same difference.
There's 2016 when we know. Then there's 2000 when the Supreme Court stopped the Florida recount, ultimately giving Bush the Florida electors and the presidency.
Oh, it's the Supreme Court's fault. They wouldn't let Florida keep counting and counting until Democrats got the outcome that they wanted. Hey, if she can oversimplify, so can I.
So yeah, Electoral College is stupid. But what can we do about it? I mean, can we change it? There's the National Popular Vote Initiative. Any state signing on to this compact would simply agree to award their electors to the candidate winning the national popular vote.
She is referring to the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, where a state pledges to award their electoral votes to the candidate that wins the popular vote. But currently, there aren't enough states in the compact to be effective. So until they have at least 270 electoral votes between them, the compact isn't in effect. And all those states, by the way, are controlled by Democrats. I know you're shocked.
In 1969, there was a bipartisan effort to get rid of the Electoral College, but it was filibustered in the Senate by segregationist southern states that didn't want to give the North too much power.
So the argument here is get rid of the Electoral College because Southern segregationist senators liked it? That's not a good reason. And among those against getting rid of the Electoral College included Senators Carl Curtis and Roman Ruska of the segregationist southern state of Nebraska. And let's not forget Senator Hiram Fong of the notoriously segregationist southern state of Hawaii. All 3 were so racist that they voted for the Civil Rights Acts of 1960, 1964, and 1968, voted in favor of the 24th Amendment, and voted to confirm Thurgood Marshall to the Supreme Court. Those racist monsters! My point is, not everything is black and white, unlike what bargain bin Samantha Bee would have you believe.
And yes, this is all confusing and frustrating.
Then maybe you should go back to making videos about whatever the hell this is.
You know what? It actually wasn't bad. It was kind of like a facelift without the surgery.
Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, sharing, and slamming that like button. Follow me on Twitter and Parler at Don't Walk Run, and on Instagram at Don't Walk Run Productions. Be sure that you're still subscribed to the channel, and as always, I hope to see you next time.